Are you stuck in the skinny fat trap? Avoid these common mistakes that are actually holding you back from getting real results. We're going to be going over what you're doing wrong and what you need to be doing right to get these results at a quicker rate. So, we're going to cover three essential topics today: the misconceptions when it comes to your nutrition and how to make sure you're not taking an average nutrition approach. Of course, the strength training essentials and the cardio overload, misinformation you guys are essentially doing that's not getting you the results you want. So today, guys, we're going to get right into it. As always, these videos are highly informative. Everything you need to get your dream body and everything I can provide on my behalf through this channel right here. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get in-time notifications to know when new videos like this are dropping and how it can help you achieve your dream body at a quicker rate. So again, guys, let's get right into it. So let's touch on the first topic, the average nutrition approach, or even the misconceptions when it comes to nutrition. So guys, we have to realize that we need staple foundations in our nutrition. Our nutrition is 80% of the work, and training or strength training is essentially the other 20%. But we have to realize that the nutrition we have has to have a essential format. It has to, make sure we abide by certain guidelines to get the results we want. And the way we actually should go about this is making sure nutrition complements our goal. So we have to understand, what's our goal? Do we want to maintain? Do we want to shred fat? Do we want to build muscle? Once we understand this goal, we could then tailor our nutrition specifically to our core macros. So for example, if we're going to bulk, you're probably not going to have as high as a protein intake, but you're going to rely more on carbs, depending if you're going to a standard or lean bulk. If we're going to essentially go in a cut, then we're probably going to have a higher protein intake and less carbs. So guys, essential benchmarks like these, understanding what our goal is, allows us to tailor the right macros and calorie intake towards our essential body that we want to achieve, or the physique we're going towards. And to essentially break the nutrition down to a further component, once we have our goal, we need to understand what are proteins, what are fats, and what are carbs. So I want to give you guys a quick cheat sheet. If you can essentially write some of these points down, that'll essentially give you your framework you need to understand nutrition at a better rate. So when we talk about carbs, guys, we should be aligning carbs with complex carbs. Complex carbs are a great way to, of course, increase our glycogen, essentially. And the other thing, essentially, is that carbs are really important to essentially make us feel full longer. Is higher essential nutrients and fiber. And essentially what it also does is make sure we have a good and effective workout. These are all characteristics of a complex carb. And complex carb, guys, are essential for us because they're not only the healthier alternative, but they allow us to essentially get this growth that we need towards our goal and gives us the sufficient amount of energy we need to make sure we hit certain benchmarks when we essentially go out and train. So guys, when we're talking about complex carbs, some examples is, quinoa, we have white rice, we have, whole wheat bread, we have sweet potatoes, the list goes on and on. You can even search this online. But guys, revert to essentially using complex carbs because we know it's a better source of higher fiber. It makes us feel full longer and it's nutrient dense. So when we talk about nutrient dense, yes, it could be higher in calories, and depending on the resource or the essential food you go in towards of complex carbs, but it makes us feel full longer, which is the essential part. And depending on what your goal is, you're going to use certain alternatives from others. Maybe if you're in a bulk, you're probably going to go towards a banana. But if you're going to a cut, maybe you're going to rely more on essential fruits. So, stuff like this. Now let's dip into our proteins. Guys, we have to realize that our protein intake is crucial for us to build muscle. And anything, essentially, if you want to lose weight, build muscle, stay at maintenance, we need a sufficient amount of protein intake. And I recommend anywhere from 0.8 to 1 minimum to make sure we maintain the muscle we have on our body. So for example, if we weigh 170 pounds, we should be eating 170 grams of protein per day. And this is the hardest part where a lot of people are essentially falling off, is not doing this for one day, 2 or 3, but consistency for weeks and weeks, on months and years. This is how we compound our growth. And a lot of people essentially do it for 1 or 2 or even 3 days, but they stop doing it because it's too hard. Guys, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So please make sure you double down on that protein intake, because I guarantee it's the number one problem you're facing today with your essential diet. And some of the byproducts is when you actually increase your protein intake, you feel full longer. It's actually less calories and it helps you build muscle. Those are three non-negotiables. What happens when you increase your protein intake? So please make sure you do the protein intake, but essentially the complex carbs for your carbs. And then we go to the last macro, which is our fats. So the fats are essentially the ability to regulate our hormones and especially testosterone. But one point I want to make with fats, because I didn't learn this too a little bit in my journey, was that fats are 2x the calories of proteins and carbs. So for every 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. For every 1 gram of protein or carbs, it's 4. So realize that essentially fats are very high calorie dense. So please make sure you know your portion sizes, unless you're going to be in a bulk for I guess a substantial amount of time. So please, guys, and then some examples of good fats sources essentially could be your nuts, could be olive oils, could be dark chocolate, whatever it is. Again, make sure you tailor your specific foods towards your specific goal, because certain foods are higher in calories that could essentially defeat the purpose of whatever your goal is. So that's the nutrition part right there, guys. And now let's go into the second part that I essentially outlined, which is the strength training essentials, or even the misconceptions I'm going to touch on. So guys, when we're going with strength training, we have to underline, I'm going to give you 4 key elements we're going to talk about today. Compound lifts, when we should be doing it, what are they? Progressive overloads, a little cheat sheet, time under tension. You saw that, missed my finger. Time under tension, and essentially the fourth one I actually leave as a little bonus to keep on your feet. So let's talk on the first one, guys. Compound lifts. Compound lifts should be the start of your workouts, and compound lifts resort anywhere from your bench press, your overhead press, your squats, your deadlifts, your barbell rows. And guys, the reason compound lifts start our workouts first is because it has the ability to hit multiple muscle groups simultaneously. So for example, when you think you're doing, you're doing a squat and it's only hitting your quads, that's not true. You're hitting parts of your back, you're hitting parts of your core, your parts of your shoulder. It hits multiple muscle groups simultaneously, and it gives us the ability to essentially make sure we're increasing the amount of muscles we're hitting per week. So these are, the essential compounds, and that is a blueprint of what you need to craft your workouts. Is essentially it starts your workout. Your compounds are very important. The second thing I want to go into is progressive overloading. So guys, progressive overloading is the ability to build muscle. When we talk about this, a lot of people get confused on the rep ranges, so I really want to touch on this quick. When we're doing progressive overloads, for compounds and isolation, the rep ranges are a little different. When we're talking about compounds or compound lifts, as I just mentioned earlier, they should be anywhere from a 6 to 9 rep range. Once we get to the 9 rep range mark, we should increase the weight. Our sets, or the amount of reps we're going to do, are going to drop, and then you rinse and repeat. We're going to work our way back up to the 9. Same thing, rinse and repeat, and that's how we're going to essentially build muscle quicker. For isolation movements, maybe for side laterals, tricep extensions, lower cables for chest, these should be anywhere from a 10 to 12 rep range. And this is the standards for hypertrophy training, and these are kind of the intervals that I work on, and as well as so many other influencers and big names in the strength training framework, essentially. So these are good rep ranges to go by, and it really allows you to build muscle and to achieve muscle hypertrophy at the correct rate. Those are 2. Now let's go to the third one, mind-muscle connection. So guys, when we talk about mind-muscle connection, it's really important that we realize that, and maybe this is just for me, I'm sure it's for a lot of people as well, when you're doing a certain exercise, do not feel that you feel the squeeze in the muscle and it's just not connecting. That's the mind-muscle connection. And when we talk about the mind-muscle connection, certain exercises, you're essentially going to feel the mind-muscle connection really good. And those are the ones you should double down on. For example, for me, I feel my mind-muscle connection a lot more in the incline Smith machine press than I do with essentially barbells or dumbbells. So I like using this, but that's, what's best for me. Of course, I'm going to use different variations as time progresses. I'm not always going to stick with this, but, where I'm at right now, the mind-muscle connection is perfect for me. And I try to relate this, framework to every other muscle group I do, because that's the best way I feel like my body is the ability to adapt to that exercise and to really build that, the full muscle exertion, but to essentially break apart that muscle so it comes back bigger. So please rely on that framework. The fourth thing, guys, is the time under tension. So I call this the 1-1-1 method. So you're going to have one second for your negative, you're gonna have 1 second for your stagnant, and you're gonna have another second for your positive. So when we talk about this, guys, this kind of goes into the mind muscle connections, but it's a more detailed approach, because when you're doing your rep, you should be doing it for essentially the 3 seconds, and to essentially feel the full mind muscle connection. It's just broken apart into the 1-1-1. And when we do this, guys, when we really hold down and we really squeeze and we really make sure we get the full time under tension for when we do our negative, when we hold it for the stagnant, and then we do the 1 for the positive, that's the ability to really feel the muscle the entire time. So take the mind muscle connection and essentially with the time under tension, and then you get the formula for success right there. So those are the 4 key essential, guys. I hope I touched on those strength training essentials. And now let's go to the third and foremost, is the cardio overload, that everyone thinks you have to do a lot of cardio to get your dream body, which is true. You should be doing cardio, but there's different ways to go about it that I want to explain. So guys, we have to realize 2 frameworks. If we're doing high intensity cardio like running, maybe we're outside, we're doing some sprints, or we're essentially playing sports, that's high intensity cardio, and this is going to take away from our strength training because we're exerting so much energy. So we have to realize that if you're going to do this, that's fine, but don't rely on it before your workouts essentially and then go strength training, because you're not going to be able to exert the full amount of weight that you previously were going to do. So a good alternative for you guys to do is essentially do low intensity exercises. Maybe it's low to moderate swimming. Of course, it's a full body workout. You're going to be really tired, but maybe do it as essentially not as a high intensity rate. Another one is daily steps, guys. Daily steps is great for us because what it does, it makes sure we do a low intensity workout, but it gives us the ability to burn extra calories and doesn't take away from our lifting. And I mean, guys, when you walk, you're not, it's not so much in your body that you're essentially not going to be able to strength train. So it's a good way to complement your strength training towards your goal. So again, guys, as we know, we're getting to that 12-minute mark, and I don't want to make this video too long. 10 minutes, high value per second. So I hope I covered those 3 essentials: the strength training, the nutrition, and the misconceptions about cardio. And I gave you a better blueprint on essentially how to go about some of your workouts or the structure of your workouts, as always. So thank you again, guys, for watching another great video on the channel. I'm so happy. As always, please make sure you comment down below what was your favorite part or what you're going to start implementing your workouts after watching this video. And I really am very excited to see which points kind of stuck with you guys. As always, guys, please make sure you click that subscribe button, you hit that like button or that thumbs up if you thought this video was helpful. It just helps me get that channel to more people so I can have a bigger impact on people achieving their dream bodies and improving their fitness endeavors, because we all go through times where fitness is very tough. We don't feel like doing it, but it's discipline that keeps us motivated. So thank you again, guys, for watching another great video on the channel, and we'll go ahead and see the next one.